Hey guys, welcome back to Kitchen Court Cases, where we watch court in my kitchen. And today we are going to check out something from my other favorite Judge Webster. This one, the Judge Webster in Kansas. Please clock in for your shift if you haven't already done that by hitting the like button and enjoy the video.
And then we have the trial waiting. Have to go through it.
Apparently, they just left her here by herself.
All right, gentlemen, any announcements?
Judge, this is on a gentleman who is currently in the Butler County Jail on a no bond hold. I'm communicating with Larry Reynolds right now to see if we can't get him in front of the court now. He has some medical issues, so that the jail is wanting to get the case resolved sooner than later. If we could put that I'm working on, London Hun, to the back of the docket, I'll keep working on that, see if we can't get it before the court before you're done with the docket.
All right, and what's the case number on that?
22 TR 1246.
1246. All right, Ashley, if you've got a heads up on that, we may need that on the docket. All right, thank you, Mr. Patterson. And shall we proceed then on the Hale case, Mr. Regier?
I believe so, Your Honor.
We will now be on the record in 2021 TR 1552, State of Kansas versus Karen Dexter Hale. Jared Regier, Assistant Butler County Attorney, appearing for the state. Ms. Hale appearing in person and pro se. Ms. Hale, we are set for bench trial today on count 1, improper display of a license plate. Count 2, operating a motor vehicle without proof of liability insurance. And count 3, operating a motor vehicle with a child between ages 0 and 13 without restraining systems or seat belts. All of these alleged to have occurred on July 2nd, 2021 in Butler County, Kansas. And Mr. Regier, are you ready to proceed at this time?
I believe so, Your Honor. I will note that based off my notes, this is a defendant that would qualify for diversion. However, if we do proceed to trial in this case, of course, that would no longer be an option. Additionally, I am prepared to offer a plea bargain, but once the trial begins, my offer expires.
Thank you for those notifications to Ms. Hale and the court. Ms. Hale, you've heard what the state is willing to do. My understanding has been from the beginning, your position is you're not the person that committed these offenses. Someone impersonated you, but do you want some time to consider the offers or talk to Mr. Regier before we proceed with trial?
I mean, me personally, I'm not guilty. So like, I'm not going to take someone else's mess up, I guess you would say.
Right. So that means you want to proceed with trial?
Yeah.
And you understand that after the trial, Mr. Regier is not going to be offering you a plea offer or diversion.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right. So are you ready to proceed with trial, Ms. Hale?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Regier, any opening statements?
Your Honor, the state would waive opening argument at this time.
Ms. Hale, any opening statement?
No.
All right. You may call your first witness, Mr. Regier.
Your Honor, the state calls Master Trooper Brian Grunder to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Please proceed, Mr. Regier.
Yes, Your Honor. Please state your name for the record.
Excuse me. Before I do, I see you filed an amended information on June 20th.
I
Wanna
did,
make
Your
sure I-
Honor. And the three charges are improper display of tag, a Class C non-person misdemeanor under KSA 8-133. Count 2, no proof of insurance, a Class B non-person misdemeanor under KSA 43-104 subsection D, and failure to provide child safety restraint, a Class C non-person misdemeanor.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that I did state those correctly, and when I saw amended information, I wanted to double check. All right, again, please proceed. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your name for the record.
Master Trooper Brian R. Grunder,
Where are you employed?
Kansas Highway Patrol.
And how long have you worked as an officer?
Let's see, 21 years.
Were you on active duty in your professional capacity on July 2nd, 2021 at approximately 4:38 p.m.?
Yes.
And at that time, where were you at?
I was on I-35 near milepost 66, which is located in Butler County.
And at the time, were you in a vehicle or on foot?
In a vehicle.
Were you moving at the time, perhaps?
Yes.
And what direction were you facing?
We were northbound.
So where are you at? Could you please describe your immediate surroundings for the court?
It's just it's a turnpike. I mean, it's the turnpike, so it's a 4-lane roadway. It's just open area.
Now, as far as the open area specifically, are there any buildings, trees, billboards, fences nearby in this area?
There's fences.
And if there are, how far from the road would you say? Just a guesstimate.
75 feet.
And you mentioned that this was I-35. Is that a paved road?
Yes.
And you also already mentioned it's a multiple lane highway. Is this a highway which could be used by the public?
Yes.
What was the weather like at the time of the stop, if you recall?
It was sunny and probably hot.
And any of these things that you've mentioned about the location, did they impair your field of vision in any way?
No.
Are you familiar with KSA 8-133 subsection A?
Yes.
And what does that statute section require to be attached to the rear of passenger vehicles?
License plate.
Your Honor, at this time, I respectfully request the court take judicial notice of KSA 8-133 subsection A.
Notice is taken.
Secondly, officer, are you familiar with KSA 43-104 subsection D1?
Did you say 3104?
Yes.
Yeah, it requires all vehicles to have proof of liability insurance.
Your Honor, I respectfully request the court take judicial notice of KSA 43-104 subsection D1.
Notice is so taken.
And lastly, Officer Grunder, are you familiar with KSA 8-1344 subsection A1?
Yes.
And what does that require drivers in Kansas to do when transporting passengers under 4 years old?
Passengers under 4 not meeting the requirements of a booster seat are required to be in a child restraint seat.
Okay. Your Honor, I respectfully request the court take judicial notice of KSA 8-1344 A1 as well.
Notice is taken.
Officer Grunder, do you consider yourself capable of identifying traffic violations when you see them?
Yes.
You've already talked about your 20 years of experience. Is there any special training of a recurring nature that goes on during that time?
I mean, we get 40 hours of we're required to maintain 40 hours of training every year.
Okay. At the time we've already mentioned, July 2nd, 2021, at approximately 4:38 p.m., did you see any acts that you consider traffic violations?
Yes, I came upon a black BMW that had no license plate displayed to the rear.
Okay. So this vehicle was being operated without a license plate attached to it at the time?
That is correct.
Okay. And what direction was the BMW traveling?
North.
So since this BMW was traveling northbound, it drove past your vehicle to the front?
I caught up to the vehicle.
And once you caught up to the vehicle, what happened then?
I noticed it didn't have a rear plate displayed, so I activated my lights and stopped the vehicle.
Okay. So in other words, you conducted a routine traffic stop.
Yes, I did conduct a traffic stop.
Okay. Once you conducted the stop, were you able to identify the driver of the BMW?
The driver claimed she didn't have a driver's license, but she had a photo on her phone, which she showed to me. It was a Nevada driver's license showing Karen Hale.
And while you were making this contact with the driver of the BMW, were you able to get a good look at them?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were observing the driver, was the BMW's driver's side window rolled down?
Yes.
And how close were you standing at the time, would you say?
A couple, less than 2 feet.
Okay. And at the beginning of this stop, was the driver's side door ever left open?
No.
Would you please describe the driver of the BMW at the time of the stop as you recall?
I can recall it was a white female.
And do you see the driver of the BMW present in the Zoom conference?
She looks like the woman in the video, white shirt, looks like brown or black hair. Can't tell from the camera. It's hard being on camera.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
If I have the video pulled up, if I see that the person here has tattoos, if she could, that's different than the person. She wasn't the passenger, so those don't look familiar to the one that's the passenger in the car that got out of the vehicle.
Okay.
All right, so the question is the request is for the record to reflect that the witness has identified the defendant as the driver. Master Trooper Grunder, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, because the passenger of the vehicle got out of the vehicle and went around to the driver's side to restrap in the infant or whoever wasn't restrained, but the tattoos that she has doesn't match the passenger that got out of the vehicle.
Okay, but you believe she is the driver?
Yes, and I sent a request. I had messaged Mr. Regier earlier about possibly continuing this because I had messaged the Nevada DMV to send me a driver's license photo of Karen Hale. And if she knows, if she's claiming that somebody else is using her information, if she knows who it is, if she has that information, I'd love to pull the DL photo for that person to compare them, to be able, what I feel, to make a positive identification. But Nevada, I'm still waiting on Nevada to send me a email with the DMV photo.
Okay.
I mean, I have my ID if you need that. Because what happened was,
No, we're gonna follow protocol here. Okay, so again, Master Trooper Grunder, you are identifying Miss Hale as the driver of the vehicle that you stopped.
She appears to match the person that was driving that day.
Okay, I will let the record reflect what the officer has just said. I don't think we can make him go any further than that from what he's saying. I don't know that that actually is a I'll just let the record stand for itself, Mr. Reggio. Thank you. You may proceed.
Your Honor, at this time, given the indication regarding pending goings on by Master Trooper Grunder, since this is the first bench trial study, and the state would respectfully request one continuance.
I think in light of the defense in this case, that is appropriate. I would think, Ms. Hale, you would want to get this cleared up. Ms. Hale, I think we talked about this briefly at a prior hearing. If it's your position that somebody is representing you, wouldn't you want to get to the bottom of, I would think, you don't have to answer the question. I would think you'd want to know who that is and get to the bottom of it. I think you told me you did know who it was, and that I recommended you to make a report. Okay, I may be mistaking you with someone else. I'm going to grant the request for the continuance, even though it's mid-trial. And Ashley, when's the next time we can finish this? And yet, how much time do you think you'll need to get what you need?
I'm looking at either August 30th or September 13th.
Probably September 13th, because I know how DMVs, and no offense, Trooper, but those departments such as yours can take. So.
Well, we're not the Department of Revenue or the DMV, so that's not ours, but you know how they can work even through here, so.
Yes. And then you have to cross state lines and have to deal with that department, so. And you make a valid point. I think sometimes your agency gets blamed for the Department of Revenue, for which you're not responsible. All right, this is continued to 9/13 at 1:30. And if the docket notes would reflect that Master Trooper Grunder was the state's first witness and was on direct exam when the continuance was granted. All right, thank you all. Yeah, we want a true and just verdict for whichever side it should be on. So this continuance is granted, and we are recessed at this time until September 13th.
September 13th.
Okay, I had to wait there until the end because I was afraid that I would miss something. What an interesting case we have here. Judge Webster in Kansas granting the continuance after the beginning of testimony. Very, very interesting. go ahead and let me know what you think down in the bottom of the comments down below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and go ahead and clock in for your shift. Thanks so much. Bye.